Hi everybody. Today's title is It's the Heart That Matters. There was a story about a king whose name was King Manasseh. He was 12 years old when he first became king. He started off as evil, but I will read to you 2 Chronicles chapter 33 verses 12 to 13 when he made a change. It says, "In his distress he sought the favor of the Lord his God, and humbled himself greatly before the God of his fathers. And when he prayed to him, the Lord was moved by his entreaty and listened to his plea. So he brought him back to Jerusalem and to his kingdom. Then Manasseh knew that the Lord is God." Manasseh humbled himself, he prayed to God, and he actually turned from being evil. He reigned as king for 55 years. He had a son named Ammon, and Ammon was 22 years old when he became king. And he was evil like his father initially was. And I will read to you 2 Chronicles chapter 33 verses 23 about him. It says, "But unlike his father Manasseh, he did not humble himself before the Lord. Ammon increased his guilt. He only reigned 2 years as king. He had a son named Josiah, and Josiah was 8 years old when he became king. He did what was right in God's eyes. He was the king that found the book of the law, and he made a point to do what he read in that book of the law. And I'll read to you in 2 Chronicles chapter 34 verses 26 to 28. He was upset that they weren't doing everything that God wanted them to do. And so he was actually pleading to God and saying how sorry that he was. And this was the response he got. It says, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says concerning the words you heard. Because your heart was responsive and you humbled yourself before God when you heard what he spoke against this place and its people, and because you humbled yourself before me and tore your robes and wept in my presence, I have heard you, declares the Lord. Now I will gather you to your fathers, and you will be buried in peace. Your eyes will not see all the disaster I am going to bring on this place and on those who live here." Josiah reigned as king for 31 years. My encouraging words are, it's the heart that matters. Your heart matters, and your kid's heart matters. No matter what someone else is doing, do what you can to pour good into your kid's heart. I have 2 encouraging scriptures. The first one is going to be 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 14, and I'll just read a portion of that. It says, "Children should not have to save up for their parents, but parents for their children." And when I read that scripture, I do not believe that it is referring to physical things that we are to store up for our children. I believe it is spiritual things, and it is the things that are in their heart, and it's the things that matter. My last scripture is going to come from Matthew chapter 19 verse 26. And it's just going to be a portion of that scripture as well. It says, "With God, all things are possible." The last thing that I want to say is, if you're the parent that is feeding evil into your kids' hearts based on your words or your actions, you can actually start right now to pour good into their heart instead.